been staring at you all night.
The film really is like a fairy tale reversed. So the guy that she's on the date with is the damsel in distress. He just doesn't really know it, and she's the one who kind of gets to save him at the end of the day.
It's like a roller coaster. It's this very gradual ascent up the ramp, and then once you get to the top, you hit that drop.
What do you say we get our table?
Yeah, okay.
You start to read something, and then you stop, and you start, and you stop. I started reading the script, and I just blew through it and said, there's something here. This is really special.
I would describe the film as being sort of a classic thriller, which is part of what I loved so much about it the first time I read the script. It takes place in one room the whole time. It sort of happens in real time.
I hadn't read anything like it before. It's like a very Agatha Christie type thing. Rear Window, I think, is a great uncle to this movie.
What was interesting was that it felt, in a strange way, a bit like a bookend for me, because I wrote a film called Disturbia. Cut! It was sort of like Hitchcock by way of John Hughes. This felt like the evolution of that kind of a film. It straddles sort of Hitchcock, but it's also very much like a 90s thriller, but it's using very modern technology. There's something about the idea of being tormented and harassed by an unseen person on your phone, whether it's on social media or it could be an ex, and this is just sort of the fully realized ultimate nightmare version of that. There is an unseen person in the restaurant who is sort of the puppet master. And so she's trying to figure out who it is while trying to maintain this facade.
Can we start over?
Is it the bartender? Is it the hostess? Is it the waiter? Could it be Henry? We wanted to make sure that we kept all of our red herrings alive. So I tried to make sure that every actor, no matter how big or small their role, had some kind of a moment where they behaved or looked in a way that would cast suspicion on them.
They're really highlighting each of these characters in this ensemble in a way where it's making the audience realize that there's no real insignificant characters. And they're also damn good at it as well. It's so rich. Each character and each actor's made very strong choices, which is gonna mislead the audience and make them wonder, who's doing this?
I think as the audience, you like the idea of saying, oh, I know who it is, it's that person. To set up those people, we've done some nice little lighting transitions. It's as if we're sort of in Violet's headspace.
You are telling a story from this one person's perspective, and so you have, I think, a certain kind of creative license to do things that I think you wouldn't traditionally do. And so one thing that we did do when we were designing our shots, we specifically designed those shots to always have a very specific place for the text, to ultimately create a conversation and a character with a person we can't see.
As the film shifts dramatically, our style, of course, changed.
We shot the movie with very sort of traditional coverage. We start moving into angles and images that are off kilter. A lot of Dutch angles and things moving in ways that feel slightly unnatural, playing with different lenses. It's like her whole world breaks from its axis. There's two villains in the movie. There's Richard and there's the masked guy in their house. And Richard is meant to sort of represent the kind of psychological torment that Violet has had to deal with in her past. And then the masked guy is the physical. He's all brute force. I wanted the stakes to feel real and that the violence felt as visceral as it could. I didn't want to make one of those movies where Violet suddenly is like a black belt.
This is the first time I've ever done stunts of any kind, so I was really excited.
You missed!
The final sequence, in this case, it's a lot of wire work. The first rig, Richard, basically we have to be able to suck him out the window parallel with the floor of the stage and then drop him and then hold him, suspend him in air.
You missed!
The VFX plates will take care of him falling all the way down. And then we did shots of a dummy falling, crashing into a sign at the bottom of the building. Then we also have Violet's rig. As she's sliding along the floor, she basically flies out the window, but manages to catch on to a tablecloth and is hanging out the window 37 stories up.
3, 2, 1.
I always love doing things I've never done before and learning new stuff. I was actually really intimidated the first time. I was learning how to do the kitchen stab. I get thrown across 2 tables. I get picked up and then thrown again.
We put the cast on a wire rig, so we were able to basically have the masked man pick up the cast and pull her out of frame fast. And at the same time, we also continued that shot with the double sliding across the table and smashing on the other side, so it looked like it was actually the cast member. So it was a very clever camera move.
Brendan is a pro. I always knew that our actors were in the best hands. It took an enormous amount of work and clever thinking to pull off some of the stuff that we were shooting. She's incredibly vulnerable and honest, but then also arrives at a place of immense strength.
Mommy! It's about a person who's trying to survive a situation that feels pretty inescapable. I think it's really cool to see this woman who has survived an abusive marriage. I also think she's kind of badass. Beyonce.